What's going on, everybody? Tonight, I got a guest in tonight. I have Jermiah Saylor-Hoover from Fesco out of Nashville, Tennessee. I met his boss a couple weeks ago when I was at the Fesco conference. We just happened to be sitting by each other during lunch or breakfast or something, and we just started talking. Or no, actually, it was maybe a meeting or something. I'm not sure. We started talking, and one thing led to another, and I was talking about the podcast, and she reached out to me last week and said, "Hey, one of my techs actually listens." I was like, "Holy smokes, it actually works!" So I was like, "I'd love to talk to him." So here he is. So thanks for coming on, Jeremiah.
You're very welcome.
So normally we keep this pretty chill, pretty low key. So let's just start off by where you're from and how long you've been in the industry.
I am from Nashville. I work in Nashville. I'm from Wilson County, which is right next to Nashville, and I've been with Fesco for just shy of 12 years.
Nice, nice. So how did you get your start in this?
Uh, Almost like everybody else, it seems like. With my dad, he's worked here for 18, 20 years, 17, somewhere around there, long enough, and he brought me in during spring breaks, summer breaks, any kind of breaks that I had from school. If there was an install or second man was needed, I'd come in, help for a day, two, half a day, whatever it took to get the job done. And I guess the boss just took a liking to me and said, "Well, hey, let's get you hired on." And started out after that to get my foot more into the door. I did shipping and receiving for about a year and a half or so, and then slowly moved back into doing installs and then running some service calls and pretty much doing whatever it needed to be done to get the job done, help whoever, put in whatever, and I'm here now.
That's cool. So you just started young, helping your dad out and stuff. That's awesome. Um, I was trying to get my son to come do that, but anymore it's so litigious and everything else. Everyone freaks out, so he has to be hired through a temp agency to even help out as like just a helper. So didn't end up doing it, but that's cool. So did you ever have any plans to go to college, or you just not college? You were just
So right out of high school, I did go to a welding college, but it was, when was that? 2010, somewhere around there, 2011 maybe. Uh, yeah, I got out, was certified on all this stuff, but because I had no experience, nobody wanted to take me. And kept looking, kept looking, kept looking. Still was working with Fesco part time then, doing all the installs and stuff like that, but it never could get anything out of welding and got hired on at Fesco and just stayed with it.
you scared me. My youngest son, he's taking next year in school. He's doing a year of welding, and then so it's a vocational program. I live in a small rural town, and we still have vocational programs in Indiana. And he's going to take some welding for a year. It's something he wants to think about doing. This kid is actually got invited to be on the National Honor Society. He has like a 4.0 and has no desire whatsoever to go to college. He's been
Mm,
set for years. He's like, nope. He wanted to come work with me, but now that his older brother works for me, he doesn't want to work with his older brother. He don't want to hear his mouth. So
yeah.
I'll just go do something else now. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I was in the same boat, man. I went to vocational school. I was an electrician. I went to electrical classes for a couple of years. And I came out as an electrician for 5, 6 years. And then my dad did this. He worked for a company that got bought up by Ecolab years ago. And um, he worked for that company for 10, 15 years. Ecolab bought him up, and he didn't want no part of the big corporate lifestyle. It was a family owned business, and they took care of their employees. They treated them really well. And that's a big change. You go from a small family owned company to being part of a bigger conglomerate. It's a complete lifestyle change. So he ended up retiring. Before he retired, he got me his job in his territory because they were in territories, and I never looked back, man. It was a good leap.
Oh, yeah, this is definitely a good business to get into. I mean, people's always got to eat. And if people always got to eat, there's always going to be something broken.
Yeah, it seems like they're putting up more restaurants than we can keep up with now. I mean, I was talking to my boss today, and he said we need like 3, 4 more guys. He said we're trying to work away. If you haven't been done working with us in the last 6 months, sorry about you. Is what we're telling everybody. We're
Yeah.
that busy, and we're down taxed too. So we'll
Oh,
see.
yeah. Before COVID, I think we had 15 or 16, maybe 17 techs. And then now we're creeping back up there. I think we're at 11 or 12 now, and we're still hurting too. I don't know what the exact lead time is on what we're quoting people, but I'm doing an install 2 or 3 times a week. That's almost really hasn't slowed down too much even throughout COVID. There for a little bit it did, but it just never. We thought it was going to come to a halt.
Yeah. So when it hit here, we let 50% go. So we cut our staffing by 50%. So then they did it by how long you've been here. So we have one guy that's part time in the office. He was retired. He works in the office. So they let him go. So we went from like 9 or 10 down to like 5. And then they're like, "Hey, try to keep everybody at 30 hours." And
Yeah.
dude, I was still cranking out for like the first 4 weeks. I was cranking out like 65, 70 hours a week because we had nobody run the calls, and the restaurants were still open. I mean, they were still feeding people. It's just delivery or drive through only, or no contact stuff. And finally, someone caught on that I was working all those hours, and like, hey, he can't get more than 40. So I got to the point where I was getting 40 hours by like Wednesday or half a day Thursday, and I was having like 3, 3.5, 4 day weekends every week. So
Yeah, we got limited to 35 hours during the height of COVID, and it was scary there for a little bit because we didn't know how long that was going to last for. But it only lasted 8 weeks, I think, or 10 weeks.
yeah, it was about 3 months, and everything started to pick back up. Uh,
Yeah,
Unfortunately, we lost some business, nothing major, but the techs hurt more than losing the business. We had one guy we brought back. He didn't want to come back. He wanted to stay on unemployment with that extra money, and didn't really need it. So he ended up coming back, and we did it for a while. And just now we're in a market where you can't find techs. Like everything HVACR said. It's hard to find good techs, and it's hard to find anybody in general. I mean, we'll interview guys that are apartment maintenance guys, and they won't even show up. I'm like, why'd you even apply?
right.
If you're not going to show up, why waste the time? But I mean, with Indeed and these apps anymore, you just click buttons and it just mass sends your stuff out. So who knows if they actually, check the email they're supposed to come in or anything, or I don't know how it works.
And we've hired a few guys that would come in, work for 2 or 3 months, and then decide that it's not for them and quit or leave. But everybody that was here is still here, and it everybody that did get furloughed did come back with us at least. I can't say that for the other 2 branches we got, but everybody that we got everybody back at least that we did furlough.
Nice. So, what all do you install? Everything? You limited to certain things, or you pretty much just do whatever?
So pretty much whatever. I mean, we're not going to go in and install a whole kitchen. We're not set up for that. But if you've got like Chili's, we'll go in and add a second combi or swap out their old combi.
Yep, I've been a part of some of those here lately.
Say what?
I've been a part of some of those here lately.
Yeah, and we'll go in and swap out old equipment normally and uh, start them, do the full startup, whatever it is that piece of equipment requires, or a performance check, whichever way they decide to call it, and remove the old equipment. Typically, haul it off. Some places want to leave it, but well, we could strip a part off of this, or we've got a guy that hauls them off, and we'll come back 3 or 4 months later, and they're still back there.
Yeah, we do the same thing. We install a lot of one-off coolers that the manufacturers send in, especially like Chili's. We do a lot of stuff. adding a second combi or replacing an existing combi. We do a lot of rationale installs as well too. So it's not a full kitchen, but I mean sometimes we'll get in 3, 4 things for one place, and these,
Oh yeah,
these chilies. I mean, we spend some money on coolers and these combi ovens, so it's pretty busy.
yeah.
So
Do
do you ever do any, like walk-ins or anything? Big walk-ins or?
so many years ago, I was doing a bunch of walk-ins with our Knoxville crew. They're set up to do them big walk-ins,
Mm-hmm.
and at the time, Nashville was extremely hot and popping, getting new equipment of walk-ins, schools getting them, just almost anywhere. Anything that was going up was getting a walk-in. So I was helping them a lot, and we would knock out a full tear down and rebuild of a new walk-in in a week or less, depending on the size and how far we had to pipe everything. But
Yes, that always sounds like it'd be fun. I've done a couple. I tore one down and rebuilt it, but it's different. So that's what I like about this job. It's always something different. You're never doing the same
oh
thing every single day. I mean, you may do the same piece, but it may be a different kitchen. And how am I gonna get in here? Well, I can't come through the back door. Front door. You got to pull the mullion out between the doors. I got to take the swinging door off the wall to get it through. I've got
yeah,
to pull doors off. I've had to pull panels off stuff to get it in. It's always something different, and it's cool. I mean, it keeps me involved. It keeps me intrigued. I'm the type of guy that if I'm not intrigued or I'm not involved with something different, that I'll I'll quit or I'll just get bored and I'll be miserable. So
yeah, yeah. That's like you said. Just it's always a different case. Could be the same piece of equipment, but two cities over or 200 miles away, it's a thermostat versus a high limit, or it's a clogged orifice, but it's the same piece of equipment.
yeah, and plus I like interacting with people. I mean, sometimes people are assholes like everybody else. There's always battles here or there, but most of the time everyone's pretty cool, pretty laid back in the kitchen. And you sit in the kitchen long enough working on a piece of equipment, you get the feel of how it is or how they joke around. And I love joking around with people. If I see they're joking around, I'll try something real innocent at first and see how they react. And if they react good, it's on. So
Especially when it's a kitchen that you've been in for the past 10 years.
yep,
You've known the staff for 8, 9, 10 years, and you can go in and almost get away with murder, and they'll laugh at it.
yep. I've got some schools that only want me, and it's if someone else comes in there, they text me, "Why is he here? Why aren't you here?" And I'm like, I can't come. I mean, you had something critical. You couldn't wait till I could come. So you get what you get. Sorry. And
Right, right.
I've met people like I've run into them in public, and I'm like, and they start talking to me, and I'm trying to think where they're at. I'm like, I don't recognize them because they're not in uniform. And eventually, I'll figure it out. My wife's like, "Who's that?" And I was like, "Give me about 5 minutes, I'll figure it out." And then I'm like, "Okay, they work at this place. This is their name. This is their job at this place." So it's cool. It's a rewarding career, though. I mean, I don't know how much service you do. I mean, no, you
A
say you
decent amount,
do you?
yeah. But I mean, I'll probably go in and do an install first 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, and then go run service the rest of the day. And sometimes I won't go 2 or 3 days doing it without doing an install, or I'll go 2 or 3 days with doing an install. And it just most of my time though spent on installs, getting units loaded, prepped, figuring out, doing site surveys, uh, just getting the lay of the land.
Yep. So site surveys, you brought up a good point there. So do you always do a site survey for a piece of equipment? Do you ever go and just install something unless it's just like a like for like identical swap and you know for sure or what?
So if it's places we've been before, because for some reason I've got some kind of weird memory of remembering places. It's
So
just something that comes with the job, I guess.
mm-hmm.
But it, like say, Buffalo Wild Wings or Chili's, I've been to most of them in our area. So most of them not so much unless it's some kind of oddball piece of equipment or something that's big like a combi or big
Mhm.
set of fryers or whatever it could be. Then yes, most of the time we do get a site survey, but it's them oddball. Oh, we've never used you before, but we've got this low boy cooler that we need swapped out. If we can make it happen, we'll go do a site survey. But
Yeah,
sometimes doesn't always happen.
we pretty much refuse to do like combis without a site survey, just because you have to have so much different stuff for them. I mean, even
Yeah.
most of our good customers, unless I know like a Walmart, I won't do one because we're pretty much pulling out a double stack. We're putting back in just a newer version of the same thing. So I know my utilities are going to be good. I know my water's already there. I know my drain's already there. So the biggest thing is making sure all pieces are there at that point. But so I
Yeah.
don't really generally do them there. But I did one this week. It's supposed to be a site survey, and I rolled up, and it was a pretty cool little place. But it was Unox, so we were doing some Unox installs, and people can get them. They can't get some of the other manufacturers. So go there, do site survey. Units are in place. They're halfway stacked. I go in there. I'm like, okay, yeah, you guys are ready for install. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, oh, we're here to do a site survey. He's like, I open up next Tuesday, and I was like, dude, we're 2 or 3 weeks out. Dude, he
Mm-hmm.
got on the phone, and I was like, oh crap, I said the wrong thing. And I ended up installing it that day. So we installed one upstairs under a hood, and then we had one downstairs in the basement. It had a self-contained hood on it. And that's pretty cool, though. I mean, a lot of it was not done right. They just set the hood on there. They didn't connect the vent up to the hood, and so I had some pretty good teaching moments with the trainee. So it worked out. I mean, we're slowing down a little bit, but I'm still telling customers 2 or 3 weeks out, so it don't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
what's some of your favorite places to work in?
There for a while, I was doing all of. Have you heard of Share,
Hmm.
the espresso machine that's in all of the Dunkin' Donuts?
Nope. I don't do espresso machines. Thank God. We used to do some out of a company's based just south of Nashville. If you catch my drift, um,
Mm-hmm.
we used to do some of theirs, and we weren't their primary; we were their secondary. So we didn't do it enough to stay proficient at it, and it kind of just fizzled out because it just drove me nuts. So,
Mm.
but
Well, there for a while, I was doing all of the Share espresso and bean to cup stuff, unless it was something that came in on an overtime call and I wasn't able to get to it. But so I was in all of the Dunkin' Donuts in this area, all of racetracks, Mapco's, I think Circle K, yeah, Circle K's, and Thornton's gas stations. So that kept me really busy. And then we finally got us a new hire, and I was able to just spend 3 4 months training him just on that. And he's pretty much taken that over from me, so it clears me up to do other stuff. Um, but I like the Dunkins just because there's no fryers, there's no grease normally, but people are for the most part pretty nice. Get free donuts most of the time too.
yeah, that's what I always tell everybody. They're like, man, like you always get free food everywhere. I'm like, yeah. When I started this job, I was like 225. Last year, I was like 440. I got down to 340 this year, and now I'm back to like 365 right now. I was like, I gotta fucking start being good and start sticking.
It,
I, I
it's
mean,
a
it's my own fault. I mean, you can say no, but I mean, everywhere you go, you fix something and you're their hero, dude. It's amazing. I've had a million fast food places to the 5-star restaurants to places that people can't are a wait list to get into. It's crazy the amount of food people give you.
Oh yeah, and then there's some places you just don't want to accept food from.
Yeah. My trainee, first couple of weeks, he was shocked. I was like, "Oh, you haven't seen nothing yet, dude." That's decent. That's not bad. I was like, "Just wait."
Yeah, our branch manager is once things get a little more settled, she's wanting to do a ride along with a few guys here and there and just get a feel for what the field's like.
Hmm.
And she always hates when we come in and tell her about this place or don't eat here, don't eat there, and she'll be in for an awakening.
Well, I tell everybody, if you can see the kitchen, generally it's good. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, like I've been in places that are $100 a person to eat, and I'm like, how are you guys charging this amount when your kitchen looks like this? I mean, I went to one place, they were getting a new kitchen, they were getting a whole new restaurant. They're like, hey, we want you to come in and evaluate this equipment so we can see what to take over to the new restaurant and what to get rid of. I walked in the back door and looked around. I said, who's the manager? And they said, I am. And I said, I'm here to evaluate your equipment, but I'm telling you right now, throw all this shit away and start over.
Right.
I just left. I was like, it's not worth saving. I was like, you're going to drag bugs over to a brand new building. I mean, this shit's beat up. You know, don't talk about my favorite places. It's stuff gets beat up. You know, the doors are held closed by rags and tied to aprons and stuff. It's just like throw it away, start over. You're building a brand
You got a 2-inch gap around the doors of the walk-ins.
bungee cords holding combi doors closed. I'm like, what? Spend a couple $100 and get a new latch. Come on.
Yeah. I went to a place that they wanted me to try to get an oven up and running that's been sitting since before COVID. And they were like, yeah, we just need to get it up and running. I know it's full of bugs, but once you get it up and running, it'll kill, the heat of the oven will kill all the bugs.
No, they love it.
I was like, that it doesn't work like that.
They absolutely love the heat. That's why they're in the controls, because that's where all the heat is and the contact and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to have a dish machine at a certain ethnic restaurant, and I have to go in there like every 3 months. Like, this machine's not heating, and I get to the point where I just like, okay, I need contactors, and you open it up, and the contactors won't close because there's so many roaches jammed inside the contactor where the heat was that the plunger couldn't move no more. So they pull in. You just hear the coils just trying, dude. And that plunger's just jammed because it's packed full of roaches. Go in there, change the contactor, and we're great for like 3 months. Then they call back again. Like, give me 2 contactors. I'll go out there and fix it. And that smell, you don't get past that smell. You don't get used to that smell.
Oh, and then the slimy, just nastiness that gets on your fingers from touching all that too.
Oh yeah, everyone makes fun of me because I wear the black nitrile gloves when I work on certain stuff. Like, oh, you're just you're a prima donna. I'm like, no, man. Like, it takes. I work on stuff where you have to pretty much scrub a layer of skin off to get that feeling off your hand. Like, people will see me. I'll be in a dish room and I'll find green scratch pads. I've used the actual metal scouring pads and like soap and degreaser and just literally just taking layers off my hands.
Oh yeah, and it just the smell. You still couldn't get the smell out though.
No, and that cooler smell. Like, if you're at to work on like a reach-in cooler or something and climb inside there, especially if it's like first thing in the morning, it's like it lives with you all day long. You can't get rid of it. You can't shake it. I don't know what it is about. Even regular walk-ins will do it to you too, though.
Oh yeah, put your knee into the juices that's at the bottom.
Yeah, you get the walk-in freezing. Oh, it just went down. I'm like, it's 40 degrees. This thing's been down for a week. You guys don't even know it. I was like, you guys see that white stuff hanging off the back? Yeah, we noticed that 2 weeks ago. I'm like, yeah, you probably should have called 2 weeks ago. What's up, Gregory? We work at a plant that processes animal fat, not a worse smell. Yeah, I bet that's pretty rough, everything. I don't know if I've done 1 or 2 places that were butcher shops. I had a place that they hung cows. They only butchered for this one farmer, and it was like some crazy expensive steer. I don't know if it was Wagyu or what, but like, oh no, go walk through this cooler, get into the other cooler, and I open up this big sliding door, and there's a half a hanging cow staring back at me. They still had an eyeball in. I was like, no, what the heck? I was like, I can't do this, man.
I've got a story of a guy. We have a big meat processing plant down south of here. They were in there installing some new walk-ins, and they walked out of the door and was just shooting the shit, I guess. Well, one guy took one step too wrong and went knee deep into the gut trough.
I'd be going.
I'd have to camper about that.
I'd be going straight home.
He took off his clothes. He cut the pants off. That way he didn't have to drag any more down wherever he needed to go. Washed everything, and luckily he brought a new pair. Kept a spare change of clothes with him, and was able to change his pants and get back to going, but his
I've
boots were ruined.
Whitney's trying to eat dinner. Sorry, Whitney. I've driven home in my underwear a couple times, and now I keep extra full uniform, and I keep like basketball shorts in there. So if worst case scenario, and I do have to drive home, I will throw my basketball shorts on, so I'm not driving home in the underwear again. But it's
Be somewhat decent.
yeah, it's there's some rough stuff out there, man.
Oh yeah.
Been sprayed with stuff in drains. We got some combis. We do work for a grocery store place, and they do not clean their combis like they're supposed to. They don't take care of them. They always get clogged. I actually ran a call there tonight. Grease collection system pump was bad. Well, it wasn't bad. It's clogged up because they think they can just turn it on and stuff and preheats to set temperature, and they think they can just put chickens in there. And it's because it's preheating. It's preheated and the fans run, and so they set a manual timer. I'm like, no, you guys need to use your cooking program so this grease collection system runs. If not, the grease collection system doesn't run. It clogs up, and it clogged up today. And the first thing you do is you try to use nitrogen to blow back through the tube, and sometimes you clear it. Sometimes you blow the tube off the bottom of the drain pan. It's nasty, but I opened up one where the drip pan on the door was clogged, and I couldn't unclog it. I was like, why ain't this going away? So I pulled the front drip pan off, and it was like 3 inches tall by like 4 inches deep, just solid coagulated chicken fat. It smelled horrendous. And my trainee was just sitting there, and I was doing it, and he was just sitting there, just like gagging behind me. And I was like, I wanted to start like chucking it and throwing it at him, scooping it up, throwing it at him. I mean, it smelled terrible. That was one of those ones where I got in the van, I was looking for stuff to spray, and luckily I found a can of like the bathroom air freshener stuff, like at the restaurants or schools. You know, they have a little mechanical one. So I stole a can of one of those, and I just hosed the van down. I was gagging from the smell of the cleaner, my clothes, everything. It's just it is so bad, man. It's
speaking of spilling, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're fine.
I was going to say, speaking of spilling, you ever spilled chemicals on you, like combi cleaners?
Yeah, that stuff's crazy because it doesn't do anything, and as soon as you get it wet, you're like, "Why am I burning?" Like,
yeah.
They're like out of nowhere, like you get your leg wet or something. You're like, "Why is this burn? It's just water," and then you're like, "Oh shit, it's the combi cleaner."
Yeah, that red stuff is quite potent.
Yeah, I used to be really bad about taking just straight degreaser, not even like mix up water, like the pre-concentrate stuff, like McDonald's, and like throwing on my tools and like cleaning it, and like you could watch your skin like wrinkle up and like peel off. I was like, I better quit doing that, man.
It's not good stuff.
No, yeah, everything HVACR, boots ruined, man. If I can get a pair of work boots to last a year in this business, it's doing something, man. It eats them up. Everything I try.
Oh yeah. I use Kings.
Yeah, that's what my last ones were, Keens, and I tried Brunts. That's what I got now, and everybody swore by them. But man, I've had them for like 6 weeks, and my feet absolutely ache. I'm just ready to throw them away. They're like, "Well, send them back." I'm like, I don't have any other boots because I threw my last ones away because they fell apart.
Yeah, the Kings. The only reason I really like them is because they've got the slip resistant bottoms, and then the full rubber tongue thing. So when you kneel down, you're not just rubbing your leather away.
Yeah,
especially on these new epoxy floors that are like sandpaper.
I'm a sit on my ass Indian, cross my legs Indian style type of guy. I don't get on my knees, man. I'm too fat for that. If I get on my knees, it's going to cause some damage.
I'm getting to that point. It's crisscross. Yeah.
Yeah, my trainee's my son, man. He's 20. He just turned 20 this week.
He's got them invincible knees right now.
I'm like, do you take care of your knees? I was like, I'll buy you knee pads. I'll buy you a kneeling pad, something. Don't. He squats. Like, he squats all the way down. Like, he lifts weights and stuff, and so he's got really good flexibility, mobility, and he just, like, squats all the way down. I'm like, God, dude. Like, that'd kill me if I did that.
Yeah.
I know it's not going to get off the floor as easy as I used to anymore, so I don't know. I guess if I lose some weight, it'd probably help out with that.
Yeah, I need to do the same thing.
He's looking down his gut.
I don't know what I'm at, but I'm heavy.
Yeah. I got new work shirts and they were loose and they're starting to get a little tight again. And I was like, oh boy, here we go. So I got to do something this winter. I built a big giant barn to have a shop. Eventually, my goal is to put an office in there so I can have an office. So I'm not hanging out in the back room of my house. I want an office where I can record. I can do some sound editing. I can edit videos. I can smoke cigars and not have to worry about pissing everybody off. So I can't. I like cigars, but I can't smoke in the house. So generally, I sit out in the barn, and it got down to like 30 degrees the other day, and it was freaking cold out there. I was like, this is brutal.
Yeah, it's beginning to get cold here too. This morning, I think it was 29.
Yeah, it was like pretty wicked cold front that came through. It's supposed to be like 70 this weekend.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'll be back to deer hunting in a t-shirt again. I gotta stay
I'm gonna
close.
be out splitting wood.
I need to get a wood burner. I was either going to get a wood burner or a pellet stove for my barn, but I think this weekend I'm going to go ahead and start working on framing in the downstairs. I got my loft up, and then I'm going to frame a room in downstairs for my wife to use for a craft room and stuff, and then the loft I'm putting a big section that's going to be my office. But I was like, well, I'll go ahead and frame in her section downstairs and get it heated down there. That way, because she's got all this craft paint and stuff, and if that stuff freezes, it's trash. So I got to bring all that in the house or get a way to keep it warm so I don't tear it up and have to rebuy everything again.
Gotcha.
So what do you do outside of work? Anything? Any hobbies?
We started a garden this year, but not too experienced at it, so it didn't go out too good.
Yeah.
But we got some tomatoes and squash and cucumbers and a couple of pumpkins.
We did squash. We did a bunch of different kind of peppers, some jalapenos, some banana peppers, some lettuces, a couple tomato plants. Then we did the best thing that's still taking off. It's still not done. Is people call me nuts, but I love Brussels sprouts, and we actually grew some. But their growth season is so terrible. Like they're only like half the plants are there, but the Brussels sprouts are still growing. And they still got like weeks to go. But I guess the cold weather doesn't really affect them, so it's not supposed to be a big deal. So we'll see. But we planted 6 of them, and I didn't realize how big they got, and they're freaking huge. And there's like hundreds of Brussels sprouts on each one of them. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, that was the problem with our pumpkins. Planted too many too close, and they only produced like half basketball sized pumpkins.
Dude, pumpkins are an art. Like you have to pick which one you think's going to be good. You have to trim the other ones off. There's like all kinds of crazy. There's people I watch on TikTok that like grow like world class pumpkins.
Oh
and,
yeah,
and it's like it's nuts. It's like they're out there and they're watering. Yeah, they're like, oh no, this vine's kinking, and they're trying to straighten out vines. I'm like, what the heck is this guy doing? They're trimming vines off. They got water lines going straight to vines. I'm like, this is absolutely insane.
Too much time for me.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. I barely get enough time to do what I need to do, plus this type of stuff. So,
All right.
So, yeah, it's definitely a different thing. So, I hunt and I fish. My wife likes to fish. I've fished my whole life, so I go fishing. And then deer hunt. I don't hunt anything else. I'm a terrible deer hunter. I don't have the patience for it. I don't have private land, so I go public land. I'm lazy, so I don't walk very far, so people walk right by me. So, it's fun. It gets me out, though, and spend a lot of money for no return.
Yeah. No.
But, I mean, you got to do something outside of work. Because, I mean, I enjoy my job. I mean, I've done a lot of cool stuff because of my job, but you still got to have some time away, or it's nuts.
Yeah, I actually took off tomorrow.
Uh-oh. I'm on calls this weekend.
I just got off call.
I was wondering how it works if you actually ran on call since you do primarily installs or what. So
yeah, I still run calls.
Nice. So do you have any more install guys, or just you pretty much do most of the installs?
So it's mostly me, and if it's something that takes 2 people, I'll typically try to bring my dad with me just because he was doing it before I did it, so he still knows the teamwork side of it, I guess. I don't have to try to train somebody, and he just knows what to do. We both go in and get it knocked out.
Yeah, that's my thing right now. Like, when I'm with a trainee, generally I'm pretty good about it, but this trainee's my son, so I try to act like we do at home, like where I expect him to know what to do, and he doesn't know how to do it. And it's just like I want to yell at him, I'm like, I can't do this. We're at work. I can't yell at him. I can't yell at him. I can't yell at him. But
The hardest part I found with training new guys is getting them to anticipate what you need next.
yeah, we've done it so long now. We kind of just know, and that's the hard thing is trying to get them to do it. I mean, I could see where it could be hard. I remember the mistakes I made when I was younger, but I mean, I don't know about you, but like, have you guys had any younger guys start like mid to early 20s?
Yeah, a couple.
We had one. He was a good guy, great guy. He was young, he was smart, willing to learn, but they don't like if they get 40, 45 hours a week, that's all they want. They don't want any more.
Mm-hmm.
They're not gonna. They don't want to. They're not going to kill themselves for 20 hours overtime every week. 55 to 60 hours a week. I mean, that's what I run. Like my light weeks are like 55 hours. But my heavy weeks are like 80 hours. And I'm not gonna lie. Most weeks I'll be in overtime Thursday morning, if not Wednesday night. But these younger guys don't want no part of it. Now my son, he's all about it. He wants the overtime, but they won't let him have it because he's a trainee. So he's not. If it's not a billable time, he doesn't get to have overtime. So.
All right.
Yeah, it's my son. He's drinking a fountain of youth. No, I am 40 years old. I just started really early. I actually have a 21-year-old daughter, so we'll be 22 in February. I've got a 20-year-old son that works with me, not for me, sorry. Then I have a 17-year-old son. So I started early. There's no fountain of youth here, unless you consider McDonald's and everything else I've binged and purged the last 20 years.
All right.
Yeah, that's a good point, Great Dane. And I get it. I mean, he wants to learn more, but it's a different budget it comes out of. It's not billable. So if we do a night job or a 2-man job, they'll let him work a little more extra just because they can bill that time for that week. So, but like today, he had 37 hours when he got home today, and they're like, "Don't come in tomorrow. He's got to do some Igniter labs." He's like, "Man, these things are so stupid." I'm like, "Yeah, but you got to do them, man." I said, "You learn," and he does learn from them. So it's weird. I don't know if you've ever seen any of those.
Igniter labs that's. I feel like I have.
They're kind of like interactive.
Yes.
You can like drag them through the leads and stuff, and sometimes they're not. So
I think I know what you're talking about.
He's got to do 3 hours of those tomorrow, so I imagine he'll get up like noon or 1 and do those and go hang out with his friends or whatever he's going to do for the weekend.
Right.
So, what's your take on training? Do you enjoy going to training, or you don't want to deal with it?
It depends. So if it's something training for installs, like we're going to show you how to properly install this piece of equipment, something new coming out, something's changed about it, then yeah, I'll do that training. But I'm not too keen on traveling. It's not my thing. I will if I need to, but I'm not going to go down to, where is it? Where's Frymaster at?
Shreveport,
yeah. I'm not going to go down there just to learn something about the new fryer that they've come out with. I'll just do some OJT on that.
Dude, that's a fun time though. It's one hell of a class, but I mean, I get it. Some guys don't like traveling. I used to be that way. I didn't want to go anywhere. I changed a lot. I didn't even go anywhere on vacation. I'd actually send my wife and kids on vacation without me. He said, "Wait, you guys get training on installs?" So Fesco has an install training program. I think it's like a 3 or 4 day class. I don't know anything about it, but I haven't had any training on installs. I just see the pictures that says, "Don't do this, do this," and
about as much keep your finger out of that.
Yeah.
And so we just went through the BIC and BIM installs that they put up for online stuff, and those were pretty decent, even though I've installed them before I got the training.
Yeah, I've done a little bit of what is it? BIC? BIC's the new one, right?
Yes.
Blending Cup. Yeah, I've done a little bit of that. the password kills me to get into them. I'm like, what the hell? It's like 000 or
I thought it was A.
is it? Oh yeah, it is A.
Yeah, A and N. Yeah. Have you done any of the first blend stuff?
No, I didn't mess around, but I only do it on call. I refuse to do it. We got a guy that does them all, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing it unless emergency comes in. And I still don't want to do it. I still cry about it.
Right. Right.
Wow, you paid for your own Ignite Labs, Gregory. That's pretty big investment in yourself. That's what I like to see.
Yeah.
I'm real big in training on my own. I'll learn stuff, and I'll seek out stuff, seek out people on YouTube or podcasts, and listen and learn. So that's cool, man. Yeah. So training is I don't know, that's kind of weird. I enjoy it most of the time. I actually train for Fry Master Level 2. I train Garland Clamshell, the new Pearls Level 2. I train refrigeration for Cefesa, so I go to Cefesa's headquarters twice a year, and I teach a basic refrigeration class. So I got that coming up in a couple weeks. I'll be down in Fort Mill, just south of Charlotte. I'll be down there for like 8 or 9 days. So I go down on Friday. I set up class. We transfer over, bring stuff over from the barn. They got a barn, so we'll move out the previous class. We'll bring in refrigeration stuff. And then Sunday, we'll discuss some things. I'll do a dry run. I'll make sure everything's set up. And then Monday I start class. And then it's 5 days of slides and hands-on training. And at the end of day 5, we take a test, and we go over a test and kick everybody out, send them back home.
There you go.
It's different. I kind of got nominated for it. I enjoy it, but I don't have the time I need to devote to like some of the new material and stuff. Just because I have, a normal job, I have this and everything else going on. Sometimes I feel like I get pulled too many directions, but I make the best of it.
Do what you got to do.
Yep. Jeremy, she says, broaden your horizons, embrace training. She's trying. She sounds like a typical boss, man.
Right.
Sounds like a typical boss. I try to go all the training in the world, but my boss is like, no, we can't have you do everything. I'm like, why not? I like it.
Hey, we're supposed to be having a bunch of webinar. I don't know if they call it webinar, but that web style training of a bunch of stuff coming up here soon. I just don't know what it is yet.
Tech of the year. Dude, that was nuts. I had no idea that was coming. It was cool. So.
Oh, for you, yeah, that's right. I heard you got that.
Yeah, it was weird. Like, I wanted to go to Cefesa conference because I want to see what it was all about. Because I teach, for them, so I wanted to check it out. So I asked to go, and they're like, no, it doesn't really pertain to what you do. It's not going to be any benefit. So like 2 weeks before the conference, like, hey, someone backed out, and we want you to take their spot. We'd really like you to go. And I was like, well, let me ask my wife. And my wife's like, no, go. I was like, well, do you want to go? Because I'll just drive to Nashville. It's like 5.5, 6 hours. It's not bad. No, she didn't want to go. She's like, she's like, you're going to be busy the whole time. But I was like, there would have been stuff for her to do. There was other wives there she could have hung out with. And but it was cool. I went to all different kinds of like seminars and stuff. Like, there was stuff I went to for finances and stuff. I'm like, I don't need to know finances. I'm not a manager, but I checked it all out, and it was cool. So the last day, though, we had the awards banquet and stuff, and Dan got up there and started talking about, the actual title. I forget what it actually is, but he started rattling off all this stuff, and then he's like, and Cefesa's newest refrigeration trainer. And I was like, you son of a... I was like, no wonder I'm here. I was like, you guys lied to me. My boss looked at me, the guy that runs General Parts, and he's like, yeah, I've been lying to you the last 3 days. Sorry about that.
But you're here now.
Yeah. Well, I kept going around, even the people I knew at PTH. I was like, hey, who didn't come? Whose spot did I take? Like, oh, just somebody here. So all kinds of people.
Everybody was lying.
Everybody knew. Like, Dan wouldn't talk to me. The trainer for Cefesa, Heather wouldn't really talk to me. Everyone just kind of like played dumb around me, like acting like they were too busy to talk to me and stuff. And then come to find out, they're like, no, we couldn't talk to you because we were scared we'd give it away. I was like, this is awesome. So it was an honor. It was a blast. So it was definitely something to experience. Actually, I want to run for a board position, I think, in the future. I think it'd be cool to have a technician on there, to have some technician input instead of just, managers and owners. And some of the guys on there were techs in the past, but it'd be nice to have someone from our side of it, in there helping out and being involved, making decisions, that affect us. So,
Yeah.
well, anything else you want to talk about, man?
I think I'm pretty good if you are.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and close her out. You're not a big social media guy, so I won't make you spill the guts, but his branch does have TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, so it's Fesco Nashville. Check them out. I expect to see some content on there. So she may be making you record some stuff for me. So
Yeah, we're trying to get the word out there and just try to find some new technicians.
how many branches do you have?
So we've got Nashville, Knoxville, and Chattanooga. Knoxville is our home branch, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Mother branch, home branch, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, we're the same way. So this kind of started as like me having ADHD and just kind of bouncing all over the place. And I was like, hey, I want to have a podcast. And I forgot about it. And then no, like corporate found out about it. I was like, no, we want you to do it. We want to use it for like to promote the trades and try to get new people involved. So here I am, several months later.
Well, I mean, it was, I think you may have posted your second or third episode on Spotify. Is that the only one you use is your Spotify?
No, I'm on Spotify, Stitcher. I thought I was on Apple, but something happened, so it didn't go. So I need to get on there and get some more set up. But I'm on a few.
Okay, yeah, but it was, like I said, the second or third episode, and I was just scrolling through, I guess it's the recommended podcast stuff.
It popped up as recommended? Holy smokes.
I think. I didn't type your name in, I can tell you that. So I was just scrolling through something, and you popped up.
Nice.
And I was like, well, Commercial Kitchen Chronicles, that's what I do, so let's see what this is about. And listen to the first 2 or 3 episodes, because me and the guy that's taking over the share stuff I was telling you about was heading like 2 or 3 hours away somewhere to go do an install. And I was like, well, we got nothing but time. Popped it up, started listening, and I think we listened to all 3 of them.
Nice. I'm killing myself here, choking on some water. That's cool, man. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you taking some time. And like I said, when your manager reached out to me, dude, I lost it. Like, that made my day. She's like, my technician listens and knows who you are. And I was like, what? No way. I was like, people do listen. Because I don't track my downloads, man. I'm not that kind of guy. I put it out there. What happens, happens.
Right.
I just do this to do this. I mean, it's cool. It's fun to do, but it's not going to – if it takes off, it takes off. If not, I'll just keep having people like you on here, and we'll talk about, dirty, greasy kitchens and burning ourselves and building walk-ins and everything else we do every day.
Oh, yeah, laying your forearm on a nice hot piece of silphos always feels just lovely.
But Trady got us – we did a garland install today, dude. He just kept – he always let him gap it, dude. He just kept burning himself, and I felt so bad for him. I was like, you'll get used to it. He's like, how are you touching that stuff? I was like, because I burnt my fingertips so bad I can't feel it anymore.
Right. Have you ever had a fryer pop back at you because it was so full of just rat nastiness and roaches and everything?
Yeah, I've had them do some pretty crazy stuff where they roll out the front pretty bad and stuff, yeah.
Yeah. The trainee I had, he was I can't say where, but we're somewhere. They were like, yeah, this fryer ain't working right. It keeps popping at us. Hit the on button. Right back at us. And he was almost a little too close. He didn't get burnt or nothing, but he definitely jumped back a good 2 or 3 feet.
So my go-to with the new guys is like do a rationale blower change. And you got to crank your puller on that wheel and it doesn't move. And you got to put some heat on there. I'm like, I'm in there with that torch and heat that up. And it'll be like halfway in the oven. And that it pops off. Boom! Every time, dude, they come flying out of there, dude. And I always record it. I die. All right, man. Well, I won't keep you no longer, man. Thanks for coming on. And check out Fesco Nashville on all social media, and you maybe will see Jeremiah's face on there one day. I don't know. He's kind of shy.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me.
You're welcome, man. See you guys.
See ya.